With an ethereal whisper, the alien queen asked, "Human, will you be my king?" And she hugged the stars above the dead planet. Ithraelis shimmered like cold eyes in the dark. Captain Elias Thorne stood alone on the rocky ground, staring at the massive ruins in front of him. The wind was silent, the sky pale purple, and the silence was thick, almost too thick. Like the planet itself was holding its breath. He had come here for scrap, that's all. He was a scavenger, just one of many humans drifting across the galaxy in small ships, hunting for old alien tech to sell. The war between the Ethasari and the machines had ended long ago, so long. In fact, that most people didn't even believe the Ethasari had ever existed. They were legends now. Ghost stories, but Elias had found something real, the scanner in. His hand beeped quietly. Beneath the cracked glass floor of the alien temple, there was a deep energy signature. Ancient, stable, alive. He placed a charge on the stone panel and stepped back. With a small explosion, the floor gave way. Dust and light burst out as if the planet itself had exhaled. When it cleared, Elias saw it, a glowing chamber hidden beneath the temple. He climbed down slowly. Inside was silence again, but a different kind of silence, sacred. Strange blue light danced across silver walls. The air felt alive, like something was watching him, and then he saw her. A glass pod stood at the center of the chamber. Inside floated a tall, luminous being, graceful, glowing faintly, with hair like liquid crystal and eyes closed in sleep. Her face was peaceful, but something about it made Elias's chest tighten. A label on the pod lit up in alien script. His translator buzzed. "Avra, last queen of the Ithasari. Queen?" he whispered. His fingers hovered over the control panel. Should he wake her? She might be dangerous. Or broken. Or worse, lonely. But then the queen opened her eyes. They were glowing white, endless like galaxies. She looked at him, not with fear, not with hate, but with a strange curiosity. Slowly, the pod opened with a hiss, and the queen stepped out. Her feet touched the floor without a sound. Elias stepped back, reaching for his blaster, but she didn't attack. Instead, she spoke, not with her mouth. With her mind, her voice echoed inside his skull like a dream. "Human, will you be my king?" He blinked. "What?" The queen tilted her head slightly, like she was confused. But her voice was soft, like music from another world. "You are the first living soul I have seen in 2,000 years. The last spark of your kind in this forgotten place. I ask again, will you be my king?" Elias laughed nervously. "Lady, I'm not a king. I'm not even special. I'm just here for a scrap." The queen looked at him for a long moment. Then she walked forward, elegant, slow, and stood only inches away. The Ithasari were powerful, but we lost our way. We drowned in silence and control and fear. We locked our hearts away and thought ourselves gods, but you... She reached out and placed her hand gently over his chest. "You still burn." Elias felt something in her touch, warmth, sorrow, hope. He had no idea what was happening, but something deep inside him stirred. This wasn't about being a king. It wasn't about power. She was alone, and he was the first person to listen to her in 2,000 years. "Why me?" he asked. "Because you are human," she answered. "And humanity has always been the fire we feared, and the light we needed." He didn't understand it all, but he knew one thing. This wasn't just a broken alien in a broken temple. This was something bigger. Suddenly, the chamber lights flickered. A low hum filled the air. Elias looked at his scanner. "Something's activating." The queen turned her head slowly. Her eyes narrowed. "They are waking," she said. "Who?" She raised her hand, and the walls around them shimmered, showing a hologram of space above the planet. In the distance, several ships were approaching. Not human. Not friendly. "The machines," she said. "The ones who destroyed us." Panic rose in Elias's throat. "He didn't come here to fight. I need to leave," he said. But the queen looked at him with calm eyes. "If you leave, I die. If I die, they will rise again. The machines will finish what they started, not just here, everywhere." Elias looked at the ships on the hologram. Cold, mechanical, endless. He had no army, no plan, no reason to care. Yet He looked at the queen. She had waited for someone to come. Not to fight for her, but to believe in her, he sighed. Well, I guess I'm staying. For the first time, the queen smiled, not with her mouth, but in his mind. In his heart, he felt it. Warm, gentle, human. She stepped forward again, and without a word, she hugged him. It was awkward at first. She was tall, ethereal, and he was just a man in a dusty jacket. But the moment felt real. And it was then that Elias Thorne, scavenger of lost worlds, understood something. This wasn't just about survival. This was about hope. And maybe, just maybe, he was exactly what the galaxy needed. With an ethereal whisper, the alien queen asked, "Human, will you be my king?" And she hugged the alien ship above. Israelis groaned as ancient systems came back to life. Soft blue lights moved along the walls like rivers of starlight. "Captain." Elias Thorne walked slowly behind Queen Avra, his hand resting on his blaster just in case. "This is your ship?" he asked, his voice echoing through the empty halls. "No," she replied softly. "This is our tomb." The ship was massive. Long silver corridors, strange floating symbols in the air, and soft hums filled the silence. Everything felt alive, but also tired. Avra led him into a large chamber. At the center was a glowing platform with a strange chair made of crystal and metal. Wires ran through the floor like roots. It looked more like a throne than a seat. Elias looked at it, then back at her. "Let me guess. That's the famous throne of silence?" She nodded. It was the mind of our people, a connection point for all Ithasari. Every thought, every dream shared at once. "Sounds crowded." "It was beautiful," she whispered. "Until it became too much." Elias stepped forward and stared at the throne. The energy coming from it made his skin tingle. "What happened?" he asked. Avra walked to the side of the platform. Her voice was soft but heavy with memory. "We were too connected. Every fear, every doubt, every pain, we felt it together. When one Ithasari broke, the others followed. The silence came. It ate us from within." She turned to him. "I was the last. I shut it down and I waited. 2,000 years. Elias looked at her. "You waited for a human?" She smiled gently. "Your kind was always different, loud, wild, but strong. You could hold pain and still stand. You burned, even in darkness." He scratched his chin. "So now what? You want me to sit in that thing?" She hesitated. "Only you can restart it without losing yourself. A non-psionic mind untouched by the web, but it is dangerous." "It could kill you." Elias stared at the throne again. It pulsed with light, like a heartbeat. "I'm not sure I want to be the guy who plugs his brain into a dead alien Wi-Fi." "You are not just a guy," she said. "You are human. That is enough." Before he could respond, the ship trembled. Lights flickered. "Trouble?" he asked. Avra's face darkened. "They are close. The Vulneri." Elias remembered the name. Machines. Cold, heartless AI overlords. The ones who destroyed the Ithasari. The ones who wanted to erase all organic life. "They picked up your signal, didn't they?" he asked. "Yes," she said. "They fear the throne. If we awaken it, we become a threat." Elias looked at her, then at the throne. "I guess I'm sitting down." He stepped onto the platform. It felt like walking into deep water. The air was thick, heavy. He sat on the throne slowly, gripping the armrests. "Now what?" he asked. Avra placed her hand on the throne. Lights surrounded them. His eyes widened as his mind was pulled inward. Inside the network, Elias was floating in a strange, endless space. Stars and shadows moved around him. He could feel voices, millions of whispers echoing, fading, returning. Emotions hit him like waves: fear, joy, pain, loneliness. He gritted his teeth. It hurt, but he didn't let go. Memories not his own flew past. Cities in the sky, children made of light. A species that dreamed together. He saw their rise and their fall, and then he saw Avra's memory. She stood alone, surrounded by dying minds. She screamed, but no one heard her. Her heart shattered. But she kept standing, waiting. Elias reached out in the vision. "I'm here now." The voices changed. The pain softened. The network pulsed. Something clicked. The throne was alive again. Back in the real world, Elias gasped and sat up. His head pounded, but he was alive. It worked, he said, breathing hard. Avra helped him stand. Her eyes shimmered. You did it, she said. You woke it. The lights on the ship grew brighter. A soft hum filled the air. The Ithisari systems came online, one by one, but outside trouble arrived. A signal flashed on the screen nearby. Volnari ships were entering orbit. 10, 15, 20. Guess we have their attention, Elias said. They will not let us leave alive, Avra replied. He looked at her. Can this ship fight? She nodded, but not alone. It needs a crew, Elias thought for a moment. Then he smiled. I know where to find one. The signal. Elias walked to a console and sent out a wide-range human signal. One used by old scavenger bands, smugglers, and colonists. A message, short and clear. To any human still listening, we're alive, and we're done hiding. He turned. To Avra, you said humans were fire? Time to light it up? Hours later, the Volnari ships began to move in. The Queen's ship powered up shields. Weapons hummed. Avra stood near Elias on the bridge. You're not afraid? She asked. He smirked. Oh, I'm terrified. But we're not alone. Suddenly, human ships appeared on the edge of the scanner, small, rusty, old. But many. Hundreds. Pilots. From colonies, rogue traders, ex-soldiers all answered the call. Humanity had returned. Avra placed her hand on his shoulder. Together, he nodded. Together. With an ethereal whisper, the alien queen asked, Human, will you be my king? And she hugged the stars above. Ithraelis were no longer silent. Flashes of light filled the sky as the battle began. The Volnari ships, sharp and black like knives, moved with deadly speed. Their red eyes glowed like burning coals. They had no voice, no fear, and no mercy. Inside the Ithisari dreadnought, Elias stood on the command deck, staring at the battlefield through the giant window. They're coming fast, he said. Queen Avra stood beside him, calm but focused. Her eyes glowed with energy. We must hold until the human ships arrive, but we're outnumbered, Elias replied. Even with your ship, we can't take them all. We don't need to, she said. We need to survive long enough. For hope to arrive? First strike the Volnari? Launched the first wave. Missiles of plasma shot across space and exploded against the dreadnought's shields. The whole ship shook. Elias nearly fell. Shields at 70%, the computer said. Elias gripped the console. Return fire. Hit their lead ship hard. Blue beams of pure energy shot from the dreadnought, striking one Volnari vessel. It cracked apart and vanished in fire. Avra raised her hand. The air shimmered around her. Her voice echoed in the minds of the crew, steady and clear. We are not weak. We are not forgotten. We are flame. The crew, made up of awakened Ithisari systems and a few humans who had docked earlier, listened to her voice. They moved with new strength. Elias smiled. That's one way to lead. The human arrival just as the dreadnought's shields began to weaken. Something changed. One by one, ships appeared on the horizon. Human ships. Some were small and rusty. Others were patched with scrap. But all flew proudly. Elias heard their voices. Over the comms. Captain Thorne, we got your signal. Ready to make these machines regret coming here. For Earth and beyond. Avra looked at Elias. They came. He nodded. Yeah, they always come when it matters. The battle turned. The humans fought like wildfire. Their ships danced, dodged, and attacked in strange, unpredictable ways. The Volnari, cold and logical, were not ready for chaos. Burn them, Elias shouted. No mercy. A small human ship flew straight into the path of a Volnari cruiser, ejecting its core just before impact. The explosion took out both. Crazy. Bastards, Elias muttered, grinning. The boarding attempt, but the Volnari weren't finished. One of their ships rammed into the dreadnought's side. A hole was torn open. Robotic drones poured into the ship like insects. Boarding party. A voice shouted over the intercom. Elias grabbed his blaster. I'm going. Avra stepped in front of him. You cannot go alone? He smirked. Wasn't planning to. They ran through the corridor together. Red lights flashed. Drones crawled along the walls and ceiling, firing cold blue lasers. Elias ducked behind cover and returned fire. His shots were precise and deadly. He moved fast. Using instincts from years of surviving in the outer colonies, Avra, beside him, moved like a shadow. With a wave of her hand, she crushed robots with invisible force. Her mind was a weapon more powerful than any gun. They fought side by side, human and alien, survivor and queen. When the last drone fell, Elias wiped sweat from his face. "You're pretty good at that," he said. "I remember war," she replied. Voice quiet, a dangerous plan back on the bridge. The fight in space raged on. The humans were holding, but the Volneri brought in more reinforcements, larger ships, stronger weapons. Avra's face turned serious. "We cannot win this way. They will keep coming. We must break their command ship." Elias looked at the tactical map. "That one? The big one in the center?" She nodded. "It controls the others. Without it, they will fall into confusion." "But that thing's covered in armor. We'd need to be insane to board it." A pause. Elias sighed. "Of course. We're going to board it. You and I," she said. Into the heart of the enemy. Elias and Avra flew in a small stealth shuttle toward the Volneri command ship. It was shaped like a blade, silent and deadly. They dodged lasers and debris, flying fast and low. The moment they reached the hull, Avra used her mind to force an entry. The door melted open. Inside, everything was metal and cold. Lights flickered in perfect rhythm. "No noise, no heart, creepy place," Elias whispered. They moved fast. Avra led them to the core chamber. The walls were filled with tubes, each holding something strange, remains of aliens, minds trapped in machines. "This is what they do," Avra said. "They don't just destroy, they collect and erase." At the center was a tall machine, shaped like a throne of wires and steel. The Volneri Overmind turned toward them. A voice filled the room, flat and cold. "Organics are errors. Your return is unacceptable. Begin deletion." Lasers shot at them. Elias ducked, firing back. Avra shielded them both, sweat on her brow. The Overmind was strong, resisting her powers. "We need to overload the core," Elias shouted. Avra nodded. She placed her hands on the floor. Her body glowed with energy. "I will hold it. You must plant the charge." "But that could kill you." She looked at him, calm, so could losing. Elias ran to the back of the chamber, planted the bomb, and set the timer. "Done, let's move." But Avra did not move. The Overmind was pushing back, trying to take her mind. Elias rushed to her, grabbed her hand. "Hey, stay with me." She looked up, her face weak. "Do not let go." "I won't," he said. "You're not alone anymore." Escape and fire. They ran as alarms screamed behind them. The shuttle flew them away just as the Volneri command ship exploded in a flash of white fire, back on the dreadnought. Cheers echoed through every deck. The Volneri forces broke formation, confused, lost, one by one. They were destroyed or fled. Elias sat on the bridge, tired and sore. Avra sat beside him, silent. "You okay?" he asked us. She nodded slowly. "I felt them break. It is over for now." Elias leaned back in his chair. "Not bad for a scavenger and a ghost." Avra looked at him. "You are more than that." With an ethereal whisper, the alien queen asked, "Human, will you be my king?" And she hugged the silence. After war was always strange. No explosions, no alarms, no shouting. Only the low hum of a ship catching its breath. Elias Thorne stood on the command bridge of the Ithasari dreadnought, staring at the stars. Smoke still floated in the air from small fires. Human and alien engineers walked together, repairing systems, speaking in two languages, sometimes with words, sometimes with hands and tools. Behind him, Queen Avra entered. Her steps were soft, but the presence she carried was stronger than ever before. "You should rest," she said. Elias shook his head. "Rest can wait. They're watching us now." He pointed to the star map. Across nearby systems, signals blinked. Human colonies. Alien watchers, traitors, warriors. The galaxy had noticed the battle and the victory. "They're going to come. Asking questions," Elias said. "Who we are, what we've done. Why we're still standing." Avra looked out at the stars. Then let us give them an answer they will remember. A galaxy awakens news spread fast. Humans once thought to be broken, scattered, Wild had destroyed a Volneri command ship. And not alone. With them stood the last of the Is-Ari. Across forgotten colonies. People began to hope. Old spaceports lit up again. Rusted engines were repaired. Soldiers who had thrown away their uniforms now wore them again with pride. A meeting was called. Not in secret, not in fear, but openly, boldly on the ancient world of Varellus, once a hub of peace long before war, ships from all corners arrived. Some flew human flags. Others came from alien races once hunted by the Volneri. Elias stood before a gathering of hundreds admirals, chieftains, envoys, outlaws, leaders of broken worlds. Queen Avra stood beside him, wearing ancient armor that glowed with quiet power. They listened as Elias spoke. The speech, "I'm not a king," Elias began. "I'm not special. I was a scavenger, a fighter, a man who ran from too many battles." He paused, looking at the crowd. "But then I saw what real silence looks like. A planet where an entire race was gone. And I met someone who didn't give up even after 2,000 years." He looked at Avra, then back at the crowd. "She told me something. That humans burn even in darkness, that we don't quit." He stepped forward. "The Volneri thought they could erase us. Thought they could crush everything that felt, that dreamed, that loved. But they were wrong." He pointed upward. "We're here." We stood up, and now we fight back. The room erupted in cheers. Some pounded their fists. Others raised weapons. For the first time in a long time, hope had returned. An offer from the Queen later. After the council ended, Elias returned to his ship. He sat alone in his quarters, tired. A knock came. Avra entered, her silver-white hair glowing in the dim light. "They believe in you," she said. "I didn't ask for that," Elias replied, "but you earned it." She walked closer, hands behind her back. There was a long silence between them, comfortable, deep. Then she spoke again. "Elias, the Ithisari had a custom. When a leader brought light to the people, we gave them the crown." He laughed nervously. "I'm not wearing any shiny headpiece." But she didn't laugh. She reached into her robes and pulled out something simple but powerful, a band made of bone and metal. It shimmered with soft blue light. "The crown of fire and bone. This is not for rule. It is for unity," she said. "A symbol. Not of power, but of rebirth." Elias stepped back. "You want me to wear that?" "I want you to stand beside me, as a bridge between your kind and mine. As king, not to command but to protect." Elias looked at the crown. He remembered his childhood, the burning colony, the sound of screaming, the way he ran and survived. He remembered the Volneri drones, the Ithisari throne, the voices, the pain, and he remembered her Avra, always calm, always standing tall, even when broken. "I'm not the right one," he said quietly. Avra placed the crown gently on the table. "You are the only one who chose to stay." A storm approaches while the Alliance prepared for peace. The stars twisted again. Far beyond the edge of known space, something stirred. The Volneri were not truly dead. Deep in the black void, a greater mind waited. A being that had not moved in centuries. The Ascendant, not machine. Not fully. It had once been a living thing long before the Volneri forgot flesh. It felt the loss of its fleet. It felt the rebirth of the Ithisari throne, and it decided this would not be allowed. Across the stars, hidden Volneri hives lit up. More drones. Bigger ships. New weapons. The final war was coming. A choice in the dark. Elias sat in the throne room of the Ithisari ship. The crown sat beside him, untouched. Avra entered, silent. "You feel it, don't you?" he asked. "Something worse is coming." She nodded slowly. "Yes, the Ascendant wakes." He looked at her. "If I wear the crown, I'm not just a captain anymore. I become part of something greater. And heavier," she said. "It is. Not a gift, it is a burden?" He smiled. "Sounds like being human." She placed her hand on his. "Whatever you choose, I will stand beside you." He stared at the crown again. Not because he wanted it, but because someone had to carry it. Someone had to show the galaxy that fire could survive even the coldest silence. He picked it up. It was warm, the coronation the next day. In front of humans and aliens, Elias Thorne walked to the center of the Ithasari Hall. He wore simple clothes. No medals, no cape. Avra stepped forward and placed the crown upon his head. There was no music. No cheering. Just quiet respect. Then she whispered softly, "Human, will you be my king?" He nodded, yes. And she hugged him not as a queen, to a ruler, but as one soul to another. The people didn't cheer. They lit torches across every ship. Every colony, every world watching, they lit flames. The galaxy remembered what fire looked like. With an ethereal whisper, the alien queen asked, "Human, will you be my king?" And she hugged for many years. The stars were quiet. Too quiet, but silence was not peace. It was waiting. Now that silence was broken again, not by songs, but by warnings. Not by visitors, but by shadows. The Ascendant had awakened. It was not just a machine. It was something ancient, something wrong. A giant being, half metal, half memory. It moved between galaxies, followed by fleets that devoured entire suns, and it was coming, the final. Elias Thorne stood before a massive table made of light, where leaders from every species had gathered. Humans, Ithasari, alien warlords, exiles, scientists, and warriors. He wore no crown now, but no one questioned who led. "Every world it passes," Elias said, "turns to dust. We can't hide, we can't run. This is where we make our stand." An alien general asked, "How do you fight a mind older than time?" Queen Avra stepped forward, her voice like music and thunder, with a fire older than fear, with will. Elias added, and with each other, the room filled with nods. Weapons were prepared. Ships were fueled. Plans were drawn. This was no longer just a human war. This was the war of all life. The shadow arrives in the darkness beyond known space. The Ascendant arrived. It did not send messages. It did not make demands. It sent waves of silence, technology deadening. Fields that shut down systems. No engines. No shields. No light. Ships floated dead like fish in still water. Then came the machines, black as space. Alive with red veins, shaped like nightmares. They broke worlds, they cracked moons, they moved toward the heart of the new alliance, toward Earth, the last. Plan on the Ithasari dreadnought. Elias stared at the burning stars ahead. His hand rested on the command console, now partially fused with ancient alien tech. "I have a plan," he said. Queen Avra looked at him, worried. "It's dangerous. Every plan is... but this one could work." He pointed to the map. "If we hit the Ascendant's mind core directly deep inside its ship, it will shut down the whole network. No signal, no drones, and who will go inside it?" Avra asked. Elias smiled faintly. "Who do you think?" She stared at him for a moment, then nodded. "Then I'm going to." Into the heart of the enemy. The ship that carried them was small, fast, and nearly invisible. Elias, Avra, and a hand-picked team flew through the smoke of war. Around them, thousands of ships clashed, flames and wreckage filling the sky. Earth burned in the background, but still stood. They reached the Ascendant's core ship, massive as a continent, shaped like a sleeping god. It was alive. Every wall pulsed like muscle. Every hallway whispered like it remembered pain. The team entered. No gravity. No light, just pulsing silence. The final climb inside the Ascendant. Time felt strange. They walked for what felt like hours. Machines watched them, but did not stop them. Elias touched the walls. He saw memories, visions of other species, other wars. The Ascendant had consumed many before. They learn, Elias said. Every time, they remember everything. Except one thing, Avra replied. "What's that?" "They've never faced us together." At last, they reached the mind core, a black spire floating in a sphere of energy. It pulsed with voices, crying, screaming, begging. Trapped minds wired into code. "This is it," Elias said. He placed the bomb, a living weapon made from Ithasari and human tech. It needed a manual trigger. He turned to leave. Then the voice came. A cold, endless voice, neither male nor female. "Not machine, not life, you are alone." Elias stopped. "I'm not. You will die, and your people will follow." Elias clenched his jaw. "Maybe, but not today." The final sacrifice suddenly, metal spikes shot from the walls. The Ascendant was attacking, one of the crew members was killed instantly. Avra raised her shield, but it cracked under pressure. Elias grabbed the trigger. I can't risk the bomb being shut down. I'll stay. I'll trigger it myself. Avra screamed. No. He turned to her. We knew this was coming. She stepped forward, fire in her eyes. Then let me die with you. He smiled sadly. No, you gave your life once. It's my turn. He touched her cheek gently. Go, be the queen of the living. Avra shook her head, tears in her eyes. You are my king. He whispered back, then trust your king. And he pressed the trigger, the fire that burned silence. A wave of light exploded from the core. The Ascendant screamed, not with sound, but with static and storms. Its body cracked. Its mind shattered. All across the galaxy, Volneri ships dropped. Dead from the sky, the silence was broken. For good, the Aftermatheva returned alone. Her face was calm. Her eyes burned. All who saw her knelt not in fear, but in respect. She lit a torch in Elias's name, and placed his broken crown beside it. Stories spread of the human who walked into the heart of a god and made it fall, not with weapons, not with armies. But with fire. The new dawn years passed. Peace returned. The Ithasari rebuilt their cities. Humans built new ships, new homes, new hopes. Children learned the name Elias Thorn before they learned the stars. And deep in the hall of kings, Avra sat on her throne. Alone, but not lonely. Beside her, a statue stood of a man in plain clothes, holding no sword, wearing no crown. Just standing. Watching. Remembered. Final words. And sometimes, when the stars are silent and the wind blows cold, the queen closes her eyes and remembers the whisper, Human, will you be my king? And the warmth of a hug that never faded.